the theater humming the scenery. I personally love set design, but I get what they're saying. My name is Gaby Rodriguez, and today I want to take you through the journey of how to construct a good set piece, in this case, a plexiglass coffin. When a person goes to the theater, they're mostly impacted by the actors and the storyline, but a good constructed set piece can have the same impact. This past year, I had the opportunity to go and build and design a plexiglass coffin, and today I want to take you through the steps that I took to build a piece. I'm going to give you a pamphlet that has the steps that I took when building the coffin, and I want you to follow along as I go. The first thing was picking the right material. Now, we needed to utilize something light in order for the actors to be easy to walk on and off stage. So we utilized Luan and 2x4s. The first thing we did is we utilized the 2x4s to build a frame. But in order to figure out the measurement of the angles, we used the program called SketchUp. I'll put the link in the description if you want to download it. SketchUp is a great program, and it tells you the angles. So after we built a frame made of 2x4s, then we added the depth with the Luan and small little bracing, horizontal bracing at the top to make it stronger. Now, when you're using wood, you really need to be careful with the procedure and use adult supervision. According to Fine Wood, working with wood, you always need to wear not only a mask, but also hearing protection. And gloves are recommended too. The next step was the doors, because it was a plexiglass coffin, so the doors were obviously made out of plexiglass. So we took 2 sheets of plexiglass and we put it on top of the coffin and we marked the whole door. Now, when working with plexiglass, it's even more fragile than working with wood. Any wrong procedure can either crack the plexiglass or can result in an injury. According to ePlastics, it's really important to proceed quick, but with really careful. And it's good to not only wear goggles, but to wear full face protection and gloves and hearing protection too. What we used to cut the plexiglass was the circular saw. Again, if you never use a circular saw, then I recommend you to have an adult do it for you or do it with adult supervision. After the doors were cut, we had to attach it to the coffin. So what we did is we utilized small little bolts that we ourselves cut with a ball cutter, and we attached both of the door. Now, the plexiglass is not a strong material, so we had to add a framing to it. And for the framing, we used the same little bolts, and we went all over and we attached all the molding. After that, we attached a violin to the doors, and plexiglass violin. Now, the violin, we routed it separately. And in order to route the violin, we used a transparency, and we marked it in the door, and then with the router, we router. Now, the router, again, it's another important and another careful instrument that you really need to be careful when you use. So have the supervision of an adult. And to attach the violin to the door, we used hydrogen solvent. Now, according to the industrial plastic company, you must use a needle and you must use glove when you use a solvent, because it's really powerful. So after using the solvent, we attached the violin to the door. But the solvent works so well that we have to utilize a router to route out all the edges of the violin to give it volume. After that, we added some finishing touches like the gold fabric in the interior to add the volume to the coffin and to make it look more like a real coffin. Now, our actors had a difficult time at the beginning, but then they worked with it perfectly. So to summarize what we just learned today, remember, when you use the wooden tools, you really need to be careful and have an adult supervision. We always wear goggles and wear gloves. First, you need to design the coffin and construct the structure. After that, you add the depth with the Luan, the doors with the plexi, the violin with the plexi, and the Dremel to Dremel the borders. Any questions?
Were there any accidents? How do you fix them?
Yes, we actually did have an accident. One of our actors kicked the coffin, and what we did is we utilized the same solvent, and in the crack with the needle, we went with the solvent, and it fixed. Of course, you can still see it up close, but if you look at it from an audience perspective, it was perfectly fine.
And do you recommend any tools other than the router?
I don't. See, if you use a jigsaw or you use any other tool to cut the plexiglass, then instead of cutting it, what it does is it burns it. So the router is ultimately the best thing you can do. Unless it's a small piece, then you can use a circular saw. All right, thank you so much for your attention today. I hope you enjoyed it.